And joining us now is Democratic Congresswoman-elect Adelita Grijalva of Arizona in what is likely her last primetime interview before she finally takes office.
Congresswoman-elect, thank you for joining us. I guess my first question is, are you sure you're going to make it to be sworn in tomorrow? And I say that in jest, but in also all seriousness. You know, you are not here with us at the table. We are down the street from the Capitol. You are still in district. And given the catastrophic situation with flight delays and cancellations in this country and manufacturer crisis by the Secretary of Transportation, I would add, are you sure you're going to be here tomorrow?
I hope so. I mean, we're catching a red eye, and then if something happens to that flight, we have 5 or 6 options to get us there from Phoenix. I drove to Phoenix in order to have a more direct opportunity, bigger hub, because some of the flights that have been getting canceled here locally are those shorter ones. So I'm confident that we'll get there.
Congresspeople-elect, they're just like us.
Yes, they're just like us. And I would say, Congresswoman-elect Grijalva, I mean, you have had one of the most historic waits in American history. One that I think is fair to say very undemocratic. Your constituents have been kept without a representative way longer than they should have been. But you are also now defined by being the 218th vote on this discharge petition in regards to releasing the Jeffrey Epstein files. I covered Capitol Hill for 8 years, a discharge position, a little bit of the parliamentary procedure. If someone puts it out there, it lives for about 7 days. If you get the 218 signatures, then the Speaker of the House is pretty much forced to move it on discharge days and whatnot. It gets a little wonky, so I won't go totally into that. But are you looking forward to that being your sort of first measure of business at this historic legislation if those 4 Republicans stay on board?
Yeah, I feel it's really important for the survivors to finally have justice, and for those who are implicated in the files that they have their day in court. I mean, I think that's very important, and that transparency is important for the American people. That was something that Trump promised, right? When he was running for office, day one, I'm going to release those files. And then I think he got a big gander at what was actually in there and thought better of it. And it's very important that the survivors have that justice.
Has leadership spoken to you about how the schedule will play out for that?
No. What we have is through Leader Jeffries and Minority Whip Clark, just a rundown of this is the time you need to be in this area. As you know, I still cannot get into the Capitol without getting escorted in. And so I have to time that, but I plan on being there at about 3:30 DC time in order to be ready to go.
You know, Congresswoman elect, it feels like this particular Congress, under the leadership of Mike Johnson, has lost a sense of urgency for justice, for the rule of law, for procedure, a sense of urgency that is due to your constituents who elected you literally weeks ago. And it is not lost on me that the fact that you have not been seated is intentional. We just had Congressman James Walkinshaw here on the show, who is a Democrat who was quickly sworn in after he was elected in a special election. There are Republican elected officials who had special elections this year and were quickly sworn in. But they have played politics with you. And I just don't think we should lose sight of that.
Oh, thank you. I don't think we should either. This is unprecedented. It's undemocratic, it's unconstitutional, it's illegal. No member-elect should ever be in this situation again, where 813,000 people are silenced because one person wants to play politics with, their swearing in. There was no reason I should be in this position. We had several pro forma sessions. There have been entire freshman class that were sworn in during a shutdown. And the fact that the Senate hadn't passed the CR has nothing to do with me. That was all to give Speaker Johnson more time in order to try to convince one of those 4 Republicans to take their name off, or maybe perhaps waiting to see what was going to happen on Tuesday, because one of the winners, the new governor, is also one of the signers, one of the 217 that have signed. I mean, there's a lot of chess playing here, but respectfully, Southern Arizona deserves to have a representative that can fully represent them. And I'm glad that that's finally going to happen after 49 days of waiting.
There is, in fact, a lot of chess playing, and I want you to take a listen to what Speaker Johnson had to say when he was asked if he was delaying your swearing in, if it was all linked to the discharge petition.
What she can't do is go on the Hill and vote as a member of the Democratic Party to have the Epstein files open, which is what people bring up as a reason as to why she hasn't been sworn in yet. To that, you say what?
Yeah, it's another red herring, total distraction. It's a moot point now. Look, the House Oversight is doing a full, in-depth investigation, and they're delving through the Epstein files and releasing them.
Luke, you can go back and forth on a lot of this. What is undeniable is that once the Congresswoman-elect is sworn in, once she signs her name to that discharge petition, Speaker Johnson's in a stickier position. He is now going to have members of his own caucus who want to do a thing, who want to sign on to this discharge petition, and he don't want them to do it. So do you think that this discharge petition actually weakens his speakership?
I thought the Congresswoman-elect made actually a very interesting point about Mikey Sherrill and the possibility of Johnson trying to delay to when she becomes the governor of New Jersey, and that something like that could happen in terms of a delay. But if you look at the four who've signed on, Massey, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Boebert, and Mace, I think Massey and Greene, you're pretty confident they'll stay on there. Boebert and Grace, maybe they jump ship at this point. But all that being said, if they do get the 218, he would have to, it will be front and center. The Epstein saga will be front and center, which is something that Trump hates. And we saw what happened over the summer. And there's a lot of, I think, consternation on the Republican side that if they try and move away from it after this undemocratic delay for the Congresswoman-elect, they keep delaying. What are you hiding? What are you hiding? And right now, if everything were to go according to plan, they would probably have the vote sometime, I think, in early December, looking at the calendar and how they're going to play it. So this could be quite the Christmas present for the Trump administration if this vote goes forward. All that being said, faces a very tough road in the Senate. Very little chance that Donald Trump would sign it. But it puts the question out there. What are you so afraid of?
And Congresswoman, what do you think they are so afraid of? What do you think they are hiding by not releasing the Epstein files?
Yeah, we spoke to Chair Garcia, and he said, you know, this idea that they have all of it is false. A lot of it is redacted. They're not getting all of the information, and they're pushing for a full release as well. So much of this is like what is being hidden, and really it's going to be a vote of values. Are you going to protect people who committed pedophilia and raped children and women, or are you going to say undeniably that's abhorrent and we're not going to stand by anyone who committed those kinds of crimes?